Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.
He was talking to a gentleman who was experiencing homelessness, was sleeping rough, which means kind of like avoiding the shelter network. And his boots were soaked through, and it was like minus 15, minus 20 degrees overnight. And so like at that point, you start having like health issues. And so he was telling the story about just the simple action of giving a pair of shoes to this gentleman, and kind of equated it to his own life.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home. The Mustard Seed has a new campaign. It's called More Than You Think. And from the Mustard Seed, joining us today on the porch, where are you from, Philip? Where are you right now?
I'm in Calgary.
Oh, you're in Calgary. Okay. From Calgary, the Chief Development Officer, Philip Calvert. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. Looking forward to the conversation.
I am too. First off, when I saw the name of the campaign, More Than You Think, my mind went to, I think it's in Matthew, where Jesus is talking to the disciples, telling them if you had faith the size of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. And I thought of that right away because your campaign, it's not just a fundraising campaign, it's more than you think. So maybe you can sort of how you arrived at the name of the campaign and what it's all about.
Sure. Yeah, you're totally right. The idea behind the campaign is looking to solve a couple of things. Number one, we know that as the Mustard Seed, internally, we do a lot more than provide shelter, kind of emergency relief, and like a soup kitchen type of dynamic. There's a lot more going on there. There's employment services, there's health and wellness supports. In some of the cities that we operate, there's even housing and getting people into permanent supportive housing. And there's a whole bunch of kind of strategy behind everything that we do, that the idea is moving people from being unhoused into sustainable housing. And in order to do that, there's a whole kind of pipeline of services. There's across our entire network of all 7 cities, there's nearly 1,000 staff. There's about 6,000 volunteers. There's roughly 30,000 donors that are involved in that. And there's all kinds of relationships with churches, with governments, with city councils. And so in order to kind of do everything the Mustard Seed does, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, but also in front of the clients that we serve. And so a part of More Than You Think is kind of giving ourselves the platform to tell a broader story of everything that goes into the Mustard Seed and supporting our neighbors experiencing homelessness in every city, including Medicine Hat. And then also there is like you kind of picked up there is a faith-driven dynamic too, that there is these kind of small intentional actions that people can take, whether that be our staff or volunteers or people in the community. These small intentional actions can have much larger implications than that hour or that dollar might first kind of imply. And so the entire goal behind it was to tell a broader story, because I feel like so many of the contentious conversations we get into in society around homelessness are based on kind of narrow framing of conversations. And so we as the Mustard Seed want to provide a larger platform for conversations that are more inclusive of the whole picture.
More Than You Think is a campaign that is going to be more than just a couple of months. How long?
Yeah, so it's the overarching language of it's going to be 3 years. And within that 3 years, we're going to be talking about kind of the suite of different services. We're going to be talking about some of the history of the Mustard Seed. We're going to be talking about kind of some of the future plans. We're going to be talking about kind of some of the ways that this happens. We're going to use it as an opportunity to thank donors and volunteers and communities that we serve in, and help to paint a picture that's a little more hopeful.
You mentioned earlier about how people have misconceptions about the homeless. How many people base their, I guess, personal opinions on a stereotype? And they just say, well, those people are this, fill in the blanks. Will this campaign enlighten people as to how people actually find themselves in the situation they're in?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the goals within it, because to start, as an organization, one thing that we always like to say is that when we're talking about one of our clients or guests, we want to say this is a person experiencing homelessness.
Yes.
This is not a homeless person as if it's their identity, but this is something that they are experiencing right now. And there's massive reasons for that. Kind of the biggest reason for that is that we're not othering people. We're not saying it's one of them or some kind of villain in the story. It's really easy to create kind of that trope of villain versus hero and all that kind of stuff. But we all know the world is far more complex than that. And I'm sure that even if you ask my kids, some days I'm the hero and some days I'm the villain. And so it's really about painting a larger picture that steers away from othering people.
How do events like the Coldest Night of the Year, which just happened here about a week, 10 days ago, play into all of this in terms of the money that is raised and how it helps people here in Medicine Hat?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody in Medicine Hat that came out and participated. I know that Danny on our team did a lot of work and in connection with a lot of volunteers that helped to pull together a pretty cool team. So that was really fun to see. All funds that are raised through Coldest Night of the Year stay in Medicine Hat. Just like if anybody were to go online and donate, the funds that they donate stay in Medicine Hat. One of the things that I think is so powerful as a story with Coldest Night of the Year is it gives an opportunity for empathy. I mean, it was pretty cold this year.
It turned out to be, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas some years it's not like that. Some years it can be pretty. I remember last year, I think it was like 12 degrees on the day of or something. But it's an opportunity to step into the shoes of someone experiencing homelessness for a 2 or 5 kilometer walk, right? Which could be 15 minutes to 45 minutes in that range. And I think one of the most powerful analogies I heard about this came from one of our leaders in Edmonton just last week. Was talking about handing shoes or boots out the back of one of our shelters. Mm-hmm. And he was talking to a gentleman who was experiencing homelessness, was sleeping rough, which means kind of like avoiding the shelter network. And his boots were soaked through, and it was like minus 15, minus 20 degrees overnight. And so at that point, you start having health issues. Mm-hmm. And so he was telling the story about just the simple action of giving a pair of shoes to this gentleman, and kind of equated it to his own life. That if I'm walking outside in the cold, like Coldest Night of the Year, and I have a destination in mind, right? I can make it 10 minutes, I can make it 20 more minutes, and when I get to that place I'm walking to, I know I'm going to be okay. It's going to be warm. This is going to end. But when you're experiencing homelessness and you're on that walk, and in this gentleman's case, his feet are soaked, you don't know where that respite's going to come, right? It's this open question of where am I going to find myself? And that can be a very, very demoralizing reality to face. And I think any of us, regardless of the mixtures of all the factors that might have led to that person being in that situation, kind of dissolve if you find yourself in a situation where you're on a walk and you're freezing and you don't know where it's going to end. Mm-hmm. that's what Coldest Night of the Year is in some ways. It's helping to paint a little bit of a picture of what it might feel like to walk in someone's shoes for just a little bit of time.
I think when I was talking with Danny, I coined the phrase that hearts will melt on the coldest night of the year. Once you've gone through and experienced just a little bit of what people who are living on the street go through on a daily basis, I think your heart has to melt and to have empathy, as you say, for these people.
Yeah. Yeah, and it can be challenging because there are realities that some of us don't ever have experience with, right? Whether that be addiction or trauma or other things that kind of ladder up into the reasons why someone might experience that. And it can be really hard to have empathy for someone when you've never had to navigate those waters, right? And so that's kind of why the more than you think is important, because part of what we're trying to tell, again, is that regardless of kind of the situations that people, like the factors leading into someone experiencing homelessness, sometimes you can feel empathy for that, and sometimes you can't. And, we as Albertans kind of trying to navigate through what it means to live in this place and have pride of place living here. It can be an important reminder that, we don't have all the answers, that we don't have, the empirical, this is the reason why, right? A little bit more humility is important, even for myself. Like, as we're going through this more than you think journey, and I'm learning a ton about everything. And it's kind of fun.
Part of this exercise, too, is building trust and keeping trust with the communities. And I think here in Medicine Hat, the trust in the mustard seed took a bit of a bruising over the last year when the shelter had to close for, I guess, bureaucratic reasons.
Yeah.
But the search goes on now for a new location here in Medicine Hat. Are you able to update us anything where that is?
I can't give any tangible updates at this point, but what I can tell you is that the City of Medicine Hat, City Council, as well as the province, all recognize that there's a need. And so some of the challenges that arose during that period of time were regrettable. And I think that everybody has a role to play in realizing that we didn't end where we wanted to. And so what's been interesting is that the conversation is now evolving, that all the players at the table are starting to say, well, we also have a responsibility to make sure that we solve this as well. And so there is traction building, and I would say that there's some exciting announcements and developments in the near future.
How do you go about building trust or rebuilding trust in the community?
Yeah, that's I endlessly nerd out about this stuff. I've actually done a lot of research on how charities go about building trust in public, and it comes down to kind of three domains. So number one is it cognitive? Can we understand, right? Number two is it moral? Is there a purpose? Is there a reason? Can I rally behind this? And then three, is it pragmatic? Is it actually accomplishing anything? And these three factors get turned up when we're in harder situations, right? So people start paying attention a little more to the mustard seed when everything we went through in the last year happened. And so one thing that we could have done, is kind of wash our hands and say, we're out. Like this, like we're done. That would be against our values, right? And so choosing to stay, choosing to be collaborative, choosing to be at the task force table, those are all intentional decisions, and choosing to continue to invest into the community. Probably one of the hardest things about what we're going through in Medicine Hat right now is that the donations took a hit. It took a big hit. And that means that we have to allocate resources towards Medicine Hat that even didn't originate in Medicine Hat in order to make sure that we can continue showing up for the population there. And so we don't take those decisions lightly because we wouldn't take it lightly the other way either, right? We wouldn't think lightly about taking resources from Medicine Hat to invest in Saskatoon, let's say. Mm-hmm. So it's very intentional on our behalf to say we're going to stay, we're going to keep working at this, we're going to work at repairing and rebuilding relationships, and we hope that the community sees that and rallies around us as well.
What's the tough? Let's pause for a moment so we can share some exciting news. We're proud to announce that our work here at Bring Back the Porch is getting noticed. From October to the end of January, our videos and reels viewed more than 1 million times. Some of those viewers could be your customers, so sponsoring Bring Back the Porch is a great way to get your message in front of them too. If you'd like to support our work here at Bring Back the Porch, we ask you to go to our website at bringbacktheporch.com and follow the links. Thank you for your support. Part about all this, getting over NIMBY, not in my backyard. People are empathetic towards the cause, but I just don't want to have that shelter on my block or in my neighborhood because it'll bring and fill in the blanks again with their suppositions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. NIMBYism is not a boogeyman word, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think what that shows is that people have real concerns. And the only way to address the concerns of people that have question marks about how the programming of the mustard seed would affect their community is to actually talk to them and to actually hear them out. Mm-hmm. It's engaging with the community can be a check mark exercise of just saying, yeah, we did it. We knocked on the doors. We delivered the paper, whatever. But it can also be an honest attempt to solicit feedback in order to come up with a better solution. And so, in the spectrum of all that, there's a lot of work to be done. And, there are a lot of people that gave us feedback around the initial moment around Allowance Ave. There's also a lot of people that gave feedback around the potential site that would be a little bit further out from the city. And, those are all really important things because that has changed decision-making, not only within the mustard seed, but also in terms of the conversation that we have with the province and the city in terms of coming up with that collaborative solution. And so I would say that the city needs to keep talking and keep letting us know, because we will find a way to serve our homeless neighbors or our neighbors experiencing homelessness in Medicine Hat. And the only way that we're going to get it right for the highest number of people possible is getting feedback from the highest number of people possible.
How do we maintain the dignity of the guests when we're delivering programs to them?
Yeah. Getting to know people's names mm-hmm. is a huge
personal connections.
Personal connection. Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I mentioned I've been learning a lot through this mm-hmm. More Than You Think journey. And a part of that is listening to our frontline staff and their stories, because that's a huge part of creating the campaign language is soliciting kind of that first person storytelling. And the things that I get to hear from our frontline staff talking about the relationships they have with our clients is beautiful and heartbreaking and everything else in between.
I would imagine there's one story for every guest and no two stories are the same.
Yeah, at least, because sometimes there's multiple stories for every guest.
The campaign, More Than You Think, you're not just raising money, though. You're shifting the narrative towards the people that we're trying to serve and trying to help here.
Yeah, exactly. That's the underwriting goal, is that, yes, we need the finances in order to run the operations that we do, but we also need to keep the people that we're working to serve front and center, and the actual story of those people we're trying to serve. Because if we're trying to raise money for issues, we know where that ends. And that gets into polarization and painting with broad strokes and not actually understanding what we're trying to solve.
Mm-hmm. Do you think sometimes I guess, when a charitable organization is in business, that sometimes there's misconceptions about what they're actually trying to do?
Yeah, I think it's possible, for sure. I know one of the things that often comes up for us is that people think of us as the group that just creates meals, right? And just gives meals to people. It's all about food, 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 food. And while that's true, we do, as an organization across all 7 cities, we're probably going to be about just over 1 million prepared meals sent out to all 7 communities that we're in. But every meal is representative of a conversation. It's representative of a relationship. And so the kind of misconception of what a charity is trying to do, I think, is very much held within the container of simplistic narratives of what we're trying to do. And that without kind of taking the time to explain that there's a lot more going on through the vehicle of relationships and time with people. And to be clear, in some ways, we've done this to ourselves. In that kind of the air quotes playbook of raising money for shelter-based charities is all about creating the urgency of the meal. And that you need to donate $5 or $3 or whatever the number is that it costs to give that meal, to kind of drive the urgency of the decision to make that donation. The problem with that psychologically is over time that leads to cynicism. Because how many meals do I have to buy before X person figures out what they need to do with their life? Right? I've heard that a number of times. And the truth is, it's not about the meal.
More than you think.
Yeah, there's way more going on than you think. Yeah.
Maybe just take us through, Philip, when someone presents for the first time at the Mustard Seed, the intake process, and then what the staff do to help these individuals.
Yeah. So it's I can paint a pretty idyllic version of that conversation.
Give me the truth. Give me the truth.
Sure. So some people show up and are angry because they feel like they are an issue and not a person. Some people show up and they're desperate, and they've been on that walk and they weren't sure where the warmth was coming from, and now they found it, but they're angry that they had to walk as far as they did to get there. Some people are thankful and just show up and are full of gratitude and just exuding gratitude out of their pores. Like it's pretty crazy sometimes. Sometimes people show up and they don't know which way is up. Because of all the things that layer into what we're talking about. And regardless of how somebody shows up, the job of our staff is to treat that person as a person, not an issue. Understand their name, what they need, what's kind of the emergency first step. How can I help you right now? And then immediately that's followed up with what do you want? And this is one of the most important questions that we ask, and we ask it thousands of times every day. What do you want? Because that dictates how the mustard seed reacts to that individual. If they want to get ID, that's where the next step goes. If they want just respite from the cold, that's what happens. If they want to look at what it takes to get off of drugs or any other addictions that might be present, that's what it looks like. If they want to move towards housing and figuring out a way to get out of homelessness, then we start down that journey. If they want to have their tax filed, because that is the key to unlocking all kinds of different benefits that can get them out of homelessness, we're there for that. Let's do it. But all of this has to be driven by the goals that are set out by the client, because that's a person, that's not an issue. Mm-hmm. And if a person can own the outcomes of what they're looking for in their life, we're there to help them. And so, like, we have lots of conversations and help people get to that place sometimes. And sometimes that takes longer for some individuals than others. But that's why we're there.
How do you cut through the pride that some people have when they need help, but they're too proud to ask for it?
Yeah. It's a great question.
It's not an easy answer.
No, it's not. It's sometimes people just need time.
And to know that you have empathy for their situation. You're not just looking at them as another individual in a program. They're a human being. They have dignity. So if someone is watching or listening to this, Philip, how do we help them connect with the mustard seed? And how do we help people give to the mustard seed?
Yeah, so if you go to theseed.ca, and you can always donate online anyway through there, that would be great. You can also sign up to receive communication from us. Follow us on social media, because a lot of this, more than you think, campaign language will be coming out through social media and other forms of kind of advertising online. So that's kind of one angle to your question, is just engage with the mustard seed. There's lots of ways to do that. In Medicine Hat, talk to Danny. She's
very approachable.
Very approachable and a wealth of knowledge, and also just a great person. And so that's one way to engage with us for sure. In terms of interacting with the population and individuals that we're trying to serve, that's really a comfort level question. It can be people can be scary, and if you don't know what you're doing, how to approach, that can be a very overwhelming experience. And I wouldn't want to encourage your listeners to have this kind of idyllic view that people that are experiencing homelessness are not challenging to approach, and to just say, hey, you should go down to the mustard seed. There may be all kinds of barriers that exist to that, including just a random person coming up and telling me what I should do with my life. And so it's not as simple as just saying, hey, just go down the mustard seed. They'll take care of you. I would say that a smile goes a long way. An acknowledgement of presence goes a long way. Quite often when I talk to our guests, that comes up a lot, is that it's one thing to see someone that avoids eye contact with you. It's another thing to just, as you're walking by, and it's like, hey, how's it going? And just have a normal interaction.
Yeah, they're not invisible, these people. And they want to be seen and heard. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to add, Philip, before we wrap up for the day?
Well, I would say that to the community of Medicine Hat, thank you for sticking with us. I know it's been a tough year. We feel that like crazy. It's been a tough year. And we are committed to the city. And we know that kind of visible homelessness is an issue. We see it in Medicine Hat. We see it in all 7 cities that we're a part of. And our job, the way we view our job, is to be a collaborative partner with the city itself and with the people that live there. And so our focus, obviously, is caring for those that are experiencing homelessness. But we want to talk. So let's talk.
And the web address is theseed.ca.
That's right.
Philip Calvert, Thank you for the visit.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.